Speaking of rescinding vows or renewing vows, what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers after this season? Now, to his credit, he didn't just bring it up spontaneously in, a radio safe space or something like that. What he did was he answered a question about his future. Now, he could have just said, I'll worry about my future when the season's over. But when he was asked about whether or not retirement remained a possibility on Wednesday, here's what he had to say.
I wouldn't rule that out. I think that I'm just enjoying this season for this season. And I think there's playing next year will definitely be in the thought process. It won't be something where I'll drag it out for months and months, have conversations with my loved ones after the season, with Brian and Mark and Russ and coaching staff, and then make a decision at some point. I'm not going to hold the team back from anything. And once I commit, and if it's committing, to move forward here, it'll be a quick decision.
I've had some time to think about what he said yesterday, Chris, and I've settled on a timeline and a flow chart that is very simple. I think he's going to go to them right after the season and say, trade me. And if they say no, he's going to retire. And it's that simple. I still don't think he's going to come back for another year because I think he is smart enough and sufficiently self-aware in some respects, not all, but some, in this one at least, to understand that just because he would come back next year, it's not going to be a continuation of this year. And he needs to look no farther than Brett Favre's time with Minnesota. 2009 was great. It was special. They didn't get quite to where they wanted to go. But then when he came back the next year, it took away from the special year. I mean, this is one of his most favorite seasons, fine, but next year could undermine that and detract from it. And you'd rather walk away, I think, with everything on a positive, everything on a high note, and possibly with a Super Bowl trophy tucked under your arm.
Yeah, I hear that. Man, I could see that happening. That'd definitely be a scenario that's gone through my mind there. One thing that, again, jumps out here, I guess to me is why are we even talking about this? Why? I mean, again, I'm not trying to tell anybody how to run their life, but I'm just shocked to hear that retirement's on the table. I guess that's what I'm shocked to hear about. I mean, you're no doubt one of the three best quarterbacks in football still. No doubt. I mean, this year he's number one. Nobody's outplayed Aaron Rodgers the last 2 years. I understand Mahomes is capable of making more magical plays and guys like Josh Allen. But as far as the combination of magical plays and then playing the position exactly the right way within the pocket and doing all those things too, nobody is outplaying Aaron Rodgers. That's where I'm shocked. And then the other thing I get into a little bit is I don't know. The more time has gone on, I feel like and the fact that he even said Gutekunst and Mark Murphy's name there tells me that, some of the issues that have gone on have settled down, that he seems comfortable there. And why even want to go play anywhere else right now? I mean, you're on a team it's there. It's a player or two away from being really elite. I mean, again, I don't think that the Green Bay Packers are as talented as some of these other top teams in the NFC. I've been saying that all year long, but they do have Aaron Rodgers, and he knows when to, how to execute the offense and when to step on the pedal and make, magic happen if they're down or he needs to start making plays. And they got something good there. That's where I guess I'm surprised he even brought it up. I'm surprised he's even thinking about it. And I say if he plays, Mike, I'll go the opposite way. I think he's going to be there in Green Bay. And what to me what will happen, or my take, right, will be, you say he's going to say trade me. I think he's going to say, I'm playing. I want to play here. Give me 2 more years of what guaranteed money or whatever to make me feel comfortable. And that'll be, and I'll stay here and you won't hear any more nonsense from me. That's where I feel like
that's
go.
A big part of it too.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm oversimplifying it because before he's going to stay, they're going to have to give him a gigantic raise over $33.5 million per year. That's Jared Goff money.
Yeah.
They're going to have to pay him accordingly. He has given them 2 incredibly special seasons at a bargain basement price, and this is a publicly owned company that has no owner who is squirreling away profits into his or her private coffers. The money is there, and they've been selling the shares at $300 each for several weeks now. More and more money is coming in all the time. They can afford to pay him a lot more than they're paying him. Now, the other end of what I was thinking earlier was, if he says trade me, they say no, he retires, then he can pull the Brett Favre move in July or June or whenever and unretire. The best timing to do it is during training camp. That's when it creates maximum chaos for the Packers and puts them in a position where they just have to cut him and let him go at that point. But again, hey, maybe this is a year he decides the grass isn't any greener anywhere other than Green Bay. But if there was a team out there, do you think there's a team out there that gives him a better chance to get a Super Bowl win, to add to his legacy, if that's even what he wants? We assume that's what he wants. It could just be he wants us all to be talking about him, and he's never going to leave Green Bay. He just wants to suck all the oxygen out of the conversation. But is there a team out there that would have kind of like the Tom Brady effect for him, where the talent was down in New England, they weren't going to contend for a Super Bowl in 2020, he goes to the Buccaneers, and there it is. They win the Super Bowl. Is there a team like that that you think is sufficiently better than the Packers and in a better position than the Packers that Aaron Rodgers goes there and he's lugging around the Lombardi Trophy in early, what would it be, 2023?
I don't know if there's one that I look at to say is sufficiently better, right? I think there's some out there that maybe have potential to be better, but not as not as clean cut as it was to go from New England to Tampa. Again, I know I brought this up before, and we always thought Tampa had talent, and I just still think of Matt Ryan down in Miami for that Super Bowl when he was just talent. He's like, I think Tampa's the best defense I played all year. They're unbelievable, and that made me view them a different way a little bit. But hey, Denver, of course, has some potential there. There's some players there, but that's got to come together. I mean, again, that's a potential thing, certainly. The Carolina Panthers, to me, the roster they have is Studsville. Their defense has got a ton of players. They got two real good receivers, of course, McCaffrey. But, I don't know if there's anything else out there that jumps out to me as to the extent to go, oh, they're just missing the quarterback piece, and now they're definitely one of the better teams in the NFC like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were. I don't know, Mike. I mean, again, anybody else up there that you're thinking about that I'm missing here?
Well,
Washington could be in this position to look for a quarterback.
The Steelers. I'm thinking back to the game they played against Pittsburgh, and there was some googly eyes between Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin. And what are they? You could argue that if you would have a significant upgraded quarterback in Pittsburgh, that team
they'd be more dangerous.
Is a force,
no doubt.
They're a force,
no doubt.
But do you want to jump into that division right now?
What's that?
Do you want to jump into that division, the AFC North? I'd much rather be in the NFC North than the AFC North right now.
I hear you.
The Packers can continue to rule that division indefinitely. The Lions are still the Lions. The Bears are still the Bears, and the Vikings are still the up and down, just good enough, and good enough for the Packers to pummel on Sunday night, most likely.
Yeah.
Do you really want to be facing the Ravens twice a year, the Bengals twice a year, the Browns twice a year? I think that's part of it too. But coach is a key.
Mm-hmm.
I think coach is a key. Because maybe he's realizing Matt LaFleur knows what he's doing. 13-3, 13-3, 12-3. He's now the favorite on PointsBet to win Coach of the Year, which he deserves. That's part of this whole is the grass greener. Because is the coach as good or better? In Denver, we don't know who the coach is going to be. In Carolina, maybe it's Matt Rule, maybe it's somebody else. But that's part of this process. I said this a couple of weeks ago with Russell Wilson. Before we start saying, he'll waive his no-trade clause to go here, there, or there. No, you don't know until the dust settles on who's going to be coaching where. That's step one. And I think that's what Aaron Rodgers is going to sit back and watch in January, whether he's playing or not. How do these dominoes fall as it relates to where coaches are going to be with different teams? Because that's going to be a factor in whether or not he'd want to go somewhere else. Who's the coach of that team that I would want to go to? We know it's going to be Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, but for some of these other spots, we don't know. We don't know who's going to be the coach in Carolina or the coach in Denver. That's going to be a big factor.
Yeah, it is going to be a big factor. I think you bring up a lot of good points, too. AFC North, no doubt about it. That'd be scary to deal with those quarterbacks and some of those teams that are on the up and up, certainly. I brought up Denver. I don't know if you really want to go to the AFC West and deal with Mahomes and company and
and Herbert
and the rising team there in Los Angeles as far as the Chargers are concerned. Your Steelers one, there are some things there. I do like that, but they're also going to need some rework, I think, on the defensive side of the ball too. Miami again would be another team that I'll throw out there. That's one I would look at, or as far as like at least to have on the radar. The defense
returns.
Yeah, it's a definite upgrade. We know that. Eat that, 2-on. But they do have a young football team, and are just they need to improve the O-line. But I don't know if there's one that jumps out there to me. But I do think coach, talented football team, and there has to be some consideration, I do think, for the division you're playing in. When Peyton Manning went to the AFC West with the Broncos, I'm just trying to think here off the top, there was nobody that you were worried about as far as like that team. Now, Brady went to the Bucs, and there were the Saints and Drew Brees. But he said, okay, the hell with that. I think we could still wipe the floor with the Falcons and the Carolina Panthers, and I'll have to deal with the Saints. It was just a one-team type of thing. So that's where it is interesting, and I think you're right. There's a lot of things at play, but still in my heart of hearts, I just go, as the years gone on, hearing him talk, reading between the tea leaves, I think he's going to be in Green Bay next year. I do. And I don't want him to retire. Come on, you're too damn good to retire right now.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think he should continue to play, and he's as I said, based upon our traffic numbers back in early November when he was going through the whole secretly unvaccinated thing, I want him to play until he's 60. He's very good for business.
Yeah, I bet.
I fundamentally am running a business here, and the game is more interesting when he's part of it. Last year there was a thought that wherever he ended up, he had a West Coast inclination. So the Raiders, I think, would potentially be in play depending upon who the head coach ultimately is in Las Vegas. Could you see your buddy, Kyle Shanahan, who we know made a run at trying to get Aaron Rodgers the night before the third overall pick was devoted to Trey Lance. Could we see a package that consisted of, I don't know, Trey Lance straight up for Aaron Rodgers?
I don't think so. I can't imagine that. I can't, Shanahan's made his bed with that decision. He's going to have to do that. And the Packers, I would be shocked to let the 49ers and Shanahan off the hook, and then, oh, wait, hey, we get Trey Lance. Oh, great, we got Jordan Love and Trey Lance, two guys that are really raw, and we don't know, what they can really do. No, I don't see that happening. I don't. I think he's stuck with Trey Lance. He's going to go all in on that. He's going to go all in on that offense. He's going to try to run the Taysom Hill, Lamar Jackson, Hurts offense in Philadelphia. I think that's where you're going to see the 49ers go as far as the offensive direction is concerned.
Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love straight up for Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. Let's make it happen in the offseason. That would be something, and it's definitely something that won't be happening.
I think we hit all the teams, though, right? Oh, sorry. I was good.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But this is so different than Tom Brady. This is where Aaron Rodgers needs to take a step back and ask himself, is there really a better option for me? And do I really want to do this? It's one thing to create some drama in the 2021 offseason and let this mystery build and act like what's the big deal, but then air grievances at a press conference early in training camp. I mean, he got plenty of attention last year, and I don't think we can rule out the possibility that at the end of the day, this whole grift is about getting attention. It's very possible that he's never going to leave Green Bay when push comes to shove, but he just wants to have his ass kissed by the front office, by the coaching staff, by the fans. He wants to be appreciated in his time.
Yeah.
Look at what I'm doing for this team, and I want you to really want me here. And one of the ways that they demonstrate that is coming up this offseason. And maybe that's the big factor. Maybe what he wants to see happen is he's put his body of work out there. He's given them 2 special seasons. They're getting a hell of a bargain at what they're paying him relative to the rest of the market. Maybe he's just going to sit back and say, it's your move.
Yeah, money and appreciation is all he's got to say. I think you use it right.
And that move is going to give him his answer as to whether or not he wants to leave.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that simple.
Money and appreciation, I think, are 2 big words. No doubt about it. I mean, listen, we saw Brady leave New England because of that a little bit. I mean, that's one of the reasons he left. He's sick of dealing with Belichick and everybody on him. He wanted a little more appreciation, probably wanted a little more money too. and he knew that they weren't going to just build the team around him for the last 2 years of his career. It's different from Rodgers, because I look at Rodgers and go, wait, we're not in the last 2 or 3 years, I think, window of his football life here. I don't. Rodgers, again, like a Brady, he's going to be able to throw the ball with great velocity or touch or whatever when he's 85 in a wheelchair. I mean, he can be able to do whatever he wants. He's just that gifted that way. So that's not going to fall apart, and that's where I don't want to see him retire anytime soon. He's too damn good and too special right now.
I just had this vision of what the world will be like when Tom Brady is 85. They probably won't have wheelchairs anymore. There'll be little hovering seats that kind of take us wherever we want to go. I kind of, I know
we always think that,
hover
but
around.
Back in the 90s when you watch like future movies like Terminator 2 or whatever, you were always like, whoa, the world's going to be crazy in 2025. And you go, well, no, we don't really have anything crazy. We're still on gas cars and doing all the same crap. Actually, we haven't advanced
fewer
as much.
Fewer
and fewer. We're getting there. We need to get there faster.
When I was growing up, the big thing was the flying car,
yeah,
the Jetsons.
That's what I meant, right? Yeah.
The one thing we didn't realize is we would have all basically the Dick Tracy watch with the TV on it. I used to daydream in school, wouldn't it be great if I had a TV on my wristwatch and I could watch The Price is Right instead of listening to math class? I remember that vividly, and now I don't know. I don't know what the rules are with the phones, but I have a feeling some of the kids still find a way to get them in there. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. But you know what? Before we do that, I think we've by talking this through, we've landed on a very important point. I think much of the decision that Aaron Rodgers ultimately makes is going to be driven by the decision that the Packers make. And they're on notice in a variety of respects. And what they come to him with by way of financial offer after this season ends is what's going to ultimately decide for him whether he stays or whether he goes. And if they put enough on the table in front of him, I think he sticks around. If they put a fair amount, I'm not talking about, some king's ransom, a fair amount for what he's done for the last 2 years and what he can be expected to do for the next couple of years, then maybe it's not a conversation anymore and he does stick around, Chris.
Yeah, no, I really think that will go a long way. I do. Again, he made that very apparent. It was about respect. It's about treating, people the right way who were, important to the football team. It was all of that, let alone the disrespect of how the Jordan Love thing went down, that it came out of nowhere. And then I'm sure the money, and of course last year I think he felt a little lied to or misled to a degree. I mean, obviously. But I feel like we've turned a corner there. And again, he doesn't have to deal with Gutekunst and Mark Murphy a whole lot. He loves the coaches. He seems to love his team. And it seems to at least be in a manageable spot as far as the relationship with Gutekunst and Murphy there, to where, they can make it work and make it happen.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.